What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Nathan, and on this planet we send it. It's been about 2 weeks since I've done my last garden vlog, as I'm walking through spider webs here, and so it's just time to go ahead and catch you guys up on where things are and over the last 2 weeks and some of the things that I've done sort of in preparation for what's to come. All right, I got a plan in place. Let's go ahead and send it. All right, normally I start here at the strawberries, kind of showing you where they're at, but like I said in the last one, they're pretty much done. So what I'm actually doing is showing what's to come here. So I had a party, about 2 months ago now, and we did not finish the keg. It's almost done, but not quite. So in videos to come, I'm going to be showing you what I'm going to be doing with this sort of spoiled beer and how it's going to benefit the garden. And then just to kind of bring over there, now that I finally have freed up my basically compost tea brewing bucket here, or trash bin that's now a brewing bin, I'm gonna go ahead and get some brews going, and then we'll go ahead and water the garden with that once I get those complete. Here in the very near future, I really am hoping to get a video out to you guys on these worm bins because I need to attend to them. And like I said in a few vlogs ago, I need to go ahead and redo these bins because the sun is absolutely wearing in on them. So here in the in-ground garden, things are really growing well. Got plenty of lettuce greens and looks like some carrots and some other things out there. Yeah, but these are really doing well, so I'm very pleased to see. And what I'm actually pretty happy to see is the basil plant actually took. And so, and I mentioned a few vlogs ago, usually the insects in this in-ground garden would just destroy these leafy greens, but they're surviving. So I'm assuming the biology now is sort of fighting back on the greens predators, and they're now sort of found a symbiotic relationship to where they can all live in harmony together. The hops are absolutely looking really good. Let's come in and zoom in on some of them. You can see how, let's see here, like this one has some sort of orangish, purplish hairs and everything. I don't know if that means it's going to be good, but we will have to see. And what I would just kind of want to highlight here is the grapevines are, not correction, grapevines, the tomatoes are growing up super high. So high, as a matter of fact, and plus just pointing out that we have hops all the way down here too. But just pointing out that the tomatoes are now growing up taller than they can support their own weight. So I need to probably come by and either figure out what to do, or let's see here. Let's see if that's good enough. That looks like it might hold good enough, and yeah, we'll just see how it does. But they're just getting so big and so fast, so maybe they're just not getting enough light like some of the other plants back here, and I might have to not plant tomatoes in this area. There we go. Kind of got those up there. Hopefully the wind won't blow them down any. But then that way, the tomatoes that are coming, like here's probably a better example down here to where it's a little bit more productive. Tomatoes here, and got one down there when we've been pulling them along the way. They're coming in and they're delicious. And I mean, actually the compost tea is what I'm hoping. I'm going to build it a little bit more bacterial dominated and maybe add in a little extra sort of a nitrogen in the form of like fish fertilizer. And we'll see if that can't then transition a lot of these flowers, if it focuses in for you, a lot of these flowers into fruit. So the dual grafted plum and peach tree, and the peach tree over here, they are definitely done with the season. Don't know if you can notice, but the branches are standing a lot more taller and prouder. And so we're just going to come over here and sort of document that the semi-dwarf trees are doing really well. The only thing that I'm going to say that I'm probably going to do is what I like how this is right here. Let me get out of the light. I like how this is how the cut is really close to where the branch is going up. If we come over here, let me get out of the light again. You can see that the trunk actually goes up about 1.5 inches beyond to where the main growth is. So I'm probably going to cut that one back. And then let's just go ahead and come on out for a second. And then again, get out of the light. This time of day is really hard to kind of do some of these garden updates, but I have put the twisty tie all the way up here to the top, so anything basically above this come the next vlog we'll know is all new. The Mexican lime tree is currently right now blocking the persimmons tree back there, let me see if you can kind of follow here. The persimmons tree is actually almost as tall as the Mexican lime tree. So it's actually done some pretty good growth since the last vlog. I didn't document it the last time, so I don't know exactly how much, but it's doing pretty well. It's obviously not as thickly as the leaves have grown in as thick as sort of like the Mexican lime tree and the peaches, but it's there. So I feel like maybe in another year or two we might be seeing some persimmons there. Mexican lime tree doing great, still getting some really good growth towards the top. Still plan is to, once that sort of growth occurs, to potentially bring the growth so that I create the cone from the bottom and just allow it to come up instead of where it seems like the top half I'm just probably going to cut off the top half and just make it cone up from the bottom so it's a little bit more wider by the time it gets to that point, if I even let it get that tall. Now, let's just jump on over to the fig tree. Fig tree is huge. It is all the way up there, almost as tall as the Mexican lime tree, and it is, we've already been getting some figs. Let me go ahead and bring you around to the back here real fast. They are coming in, and those big wide ones, as a matter of fact, as you can see right there, they're already getting ate by the animals. Once they come in, we'll just definitely be enjoying them. But what I will say is that this thing is, I'm going to be very curious to see how I'm going to prune this one back, because it looks like down here we may have pulled it over a little too much. I don't know how well that branch is holding, but that branch is not the main branch. It's actually one kind of going on back there, so I may prune that one again to kind of keep space for this one. And then we can see there's a sucker actually coming up from the root area that I'll pull after I stop this clip. All right, the avocado tree. The avocado tree is doing really well. Nothing really to highlight here. I don't see any. It looks like it is getting ready for another growth, but it hasn't gone through any major growth since we last spoke. And I will say, let me just kind of bring you guys over here. We did plant some milkweed right there. You can't see much of it because the leaves are pretty much ate up, and I'll explain here why in a second. And right over here is a little bit more leaving, a little bit more leaves. And so the good thing is I will say, is that we planted these to assist the monarch butterfly population in this area, and we've actually seen quite a few of them here since we've planted the monarch, and I've seen some caterpillar shells, or correction, some cocoon shells, so I know that we are also helping to grow the monarch population, so that's pretty cool. All right, hopefully you can hear me as we talk about Big Bertha from the chickens that are just very anxious to get out. The only thing that I want to kind of highlight here is we cut Big Bertha back pretty significantly, and she just comes up with all the growth on these guavas, and those were really all over the tree. And I guess I shouldn't say we cut the tree, I should say me, because I did it at the protest of my family, which we're not too happy about it. But I will say though that back branch right there is causing some shade on the pomegranate tree here, plus some of the other ground plants. It will be going at the end of the season. All right, we'll jump just right on over to the pomegranate. The pomegranate tree is doing really well. All the maintenance that I did before has helped. Unfortunately, like I said, I cut one of the two pomegranates, and so this is the only one that remains. And it's actually looking like it's getting to the point to where it's almost time to harvest. And so the avocado tree has new growth coming in. See if it'll focus in for you guys right there, but at the top it has new growth coming in. Again, nothing too exciting, except it's just exciting to see that this avocado tree is still, making it, and it doesn't look like it's sort of in a bolting status where it's just really trying to sprint to capture the sun. So at least for now it has sufficient sun, even though it's being blocked out by a lot. And I will say this is pretty significant because or I want to say significant, this is as designed. Avocado trees, you don't want to necessarily have like a crazy amount of sun when they are young. But and then we'll just finish up over here with the sweet peppers. Doing okay. We've lost one down there, and I don't know if that's because the chickens knocked it down and then the insects started to get it to it, but it is what it is. But this one also right there doesn't look too healthy, so they are staying small, and I don't think the leaves are giving it enough juice to go ahead and grow big and as healthy as we would like them to be. All right, on the topic of when gardening, you just try and you try and try, and then when you reach a point that just isn't working, you just cut your losses, quite literally. And I think that is what's going to be the case for the elderberry tree. I've had them. The elderberries, they taste delicious, but they just grow up to the height that they're just too high for me. So I don't know if I'm going to be continuing to grow elderberry just because I just don't have the space for them. If I do get like a place that does have the space, I will absolutely add that to my repertoire in the garden. But for now, I think after this, I mean, if I don't find a spot to move it to, it's definitely going to be going somewhere else, if not going away for good. Man, the papaya tree is now taller than me. Let's see here. Is it actually taller than me? Let's come on up to it. Maybe it's probably right at my height or just under it, but it's now 5'8". It definitely was not like that when we started the year. This thing is just loving the this heat wave we've recently had here in San Diego, and it just seems like it just continues to grow and like turbocharge the growth. But take a look. We got some papayas growing under here, and like I said, papaya plants, actually I don't know if I mentioned this, papaya trees typically only have really 3 good growth periods of fruiting, and then usually about the 5th year is when they pretty much like die off. So I'm not going to play around with these. Any of them that come in on the papaya tree, we're going to have papayas and see what this thing can do. Every time I see the navel orange tree, I just think about like how I really need to get some mulch down. And I tell myself, like, just buy a couple bags of mulch, and then I think, well, that's just going to be a waste. Just go ahead and get a whole massive 1 cubic yard of compost, or not compost, mulch from the San Diego greenery, which is pretty much the dump, and just lay it down. It's all very inexpensive. It can be free if you want to shovel it yourself. Yeah, this is just kind of a reminder. It doesn't look like it's doing bad, but I think it could be doing better if I get some mulch down. And we'll finish up actually with the little engine that could. Little engine that could is now probably should be named the little engine that did. This thing is surviving and thriving and staying alive, and just pretty soon is going to be producing just some beautiful fruit, mangoes that is just going to really, I'm anticipating or hoping, I should say, after all this time, be delicious. Because, I mean, we've had this thing in the ground pretty much since we've owned the house for like the last 4 or 5 years, and it really just, it started off from a seed. So this one's definitely another one of our babies that when you start them from seed, you just have a little bit more of emotional attachment. But I think the last time we talked I want to highlight a couple of things here, and let's see if we can see them. Number one, the growth from the center was not, it had started, but now not only has it grown, but we're now also starting to get additional growth out the top of that. So like I said, it did lose the alpha branch sort of status because it's no longer the tallest, but I think it might be taking over the mama status, the mama branch status, and being the foundation for the others. And the only reason why I say that is because I'm seeing like some extra growth down here, and I don't know if maybe it's just I didn't notice it before, but some of this growth down here is a little bit different than what I've seen before. So I don't know if that's like the beginning of it, it's getting ready to sort of growing some fruiting branches down there, or that's the sort of process that it's currently within. But I think that's might be why this is now growing a little bit slower, or it just could be a random guess and it has nothing to do with it. But regardless, I'm absolutely happy with how this mango tree is pulling out. This branch is just looking beautiful. The one back there is the ones here, and even though these ones down here are not as big as the other ones, the fact that they're growing out and growing in all those directions really is going to kind of like shade this area with just some beautiful fruiting mango tree. And then we'll get to sample the beautiful and delicious mangoes. All right, that's going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Pretty short and sweet. Not too much is really going on except for a lot of good growing, and that's why the purpose of this video was just kind of vlog where things are at, and then also to kind of sort of briefly discuss the things that I have upcoming. And when I say have upcoming, I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the next video. I'll actually talk about that in a second, but like, absolutely, I need to go ahead and get the mulch down, just a thick layer of mulch. I need to go ahead and attend to the worms and get some new bins going, and then also I need to kind of get. I'm going to be doing some additional compost because the compost that I created is ready. And spoiler alert, that's actually what I'm going to be using the beer on. The biology within beer is very pleasing to the biology in the composting, and I'll show you that as we get to there. But what I'm going to be working on this weekend, as soon as I render this video, is actually installing an attic fan. And for those who know, I have a whole house fan, and then I'm now going to be installing an attic fan, but we'll talk about on that video when I get there. But anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.